Hi, and welcome to Help Nobody Told Me. I'm Shannon Johnson, a realtor with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, and my partner Jasmine Shapiro is hosting with me today.
And we are so excited to have our team member. We have a senior resource team, and Mindy Leonard is part of our team. And Mindy has a company, a home organizing company called Super Organized Spaces, or SOS, right?
Correct. Yes, I do.
So tell us how you even decided to get started with this company.
Okay, how did I get started with this company? So it's something that I have been doing for a very long time, unofficially. I've been the one to help people. I'm one of those people who loves packing for moves. So if you're moving, I'm like, let me in, let me help you pack.
And I am the complete opposite.
Right, most people are, so
Yeah.
I'm not normal that way, right? So I've been doing it unofficially for a very long time, just as a helper. And went through some life changes and all of that and needed to sort of reinvent myself and what am I going to do and how am I going to make money and afford to live and all that. And I was really toying with the idea of doing this. And I think I told you this story. I had a friend and who was a neighbor, and she reached out to me and said she's moving and she wants to hire me to pack. And I had never even told anybody about this. And yet here I am getting this phone call. And I was like, what? Why are you asking me this? Like, she said, we volunteered together, you're organized. I knew you weren't working right now. And so I thought I'd ask you. She and her husband were both working. They had a little child. And, I'll see how it feels doing it to help somebody and getting paid versus just helping somebody as a friend. I did it. I was so happy. She was thrilled. I loved it.
But didn't you tell me that she asked, so what do you charge? And you're like, I don't even know.
Yeah. It was that new of an
Right.
idea in my head that I hadn't even done research. I hadn't figured anything out. So afterwards, I packed her and then I unpacked her and organized her kitchen and her playroom. And she went on Facebook and a couple of the mom groups locally and posted about what I did, that she hired me. So if you're looking for anybody, please consider hiring Mindy, all of that. From there, I got 2 clients. I worked for them. Then they did the same thing. And from there, I got more. And it just snowballed. So this was in April of 22. And in May of 22, I got my LLC, the business bank accounts, the whole thing. So it's been 2.5 years, and now I have a team of 8 people, and it's just, it's truly
incredible.
A dream.
It's
truly
the universe
a dream.
speaking to you, right? Because
It was a universal moment.
Yeah.
It really was one of those where it was like,
You needed that little push.
and sometimes you have to listen to signs. You may not realize you're getting them. Now we're getting all woo-woo-woo-y. but it was one of those moments where, you know what? Something's happening here, and I'm going to do it.
Well, and to speak to the social media piece, I'm on mom sites in the area and things like that, and I see your name come up a lot.
Me too.
A lot. I always try to say, yes, she's our favorite. Hire Mindy.
Well, and that is the best it's the best compliment you can get if someone gives you a referral.
It's the best.
It really is.
It means so much because, in all of our businesses, trust and relationship building is key.
Yes.
Right? There are a lot of organizers out there. There are a lot of real estate agents out there, right? And so how can we differentiate ourselves and what is different? And it's, we all have our own skills and that kind of thing, but it's the relationships that you bring.
And it's the team that you built, too, outside of us, but you have all kinds of connections. So if you need a handyman or you need, I remember you were telling a story that somebody had all her mother's fabrics. And she didn't know what to do with them.
Right,
And
right.
What did you said, like, let's make a quilt or something, right?
Yeah, they were like beautiful Indian fabrics from years ago, and they were just in a chest, a trunk in their home, but she didn't want to get rid of them. So I suggested, let's turn it into a piece of art, and you can look at it every day, and we made a huge thing for the wall. But I like to repurpose. I like to figure out, it's very hard for people to get rid of things, especially seniors, right? Which is what we are all focusing on. And so how can we repurpose something that maybe is important and make it function in a different way? I'm very, very much into function. My stuff ends up looking great, but it's a result of getting it to function. A lot of people will aim for the Pinterest picture and it looks great, but it doesn't function.
Right.
And so I do it backwards. I problem solve the situation, come up with a solution, make it function, and as a result of the functionality and being efficient, it's going to look great.
And that can really apply to any transition in life, right? Like you could be just, you went to college for 4 years, you have all these boxes of things from college that maybe now you don't need them in the same way. And how do you switch gears from that? It could be that you had little kids and now they grew up and now what do? I want to sort of shift gears. And so there's different transitions in life where I think you can really be beneficial to people.
Well, and it's interesting you mentioned that about little kids because I actually have a couple of clients that I'm working with right now and we are transitioning their basements because their basements are set up for more of toddlerhood and now they're preteen. And the needs are different.
Right.
And
they need lounge space.
Yes.
It's like a
and,
different thing.
And the kitchen is going away and, all of that. I mean, I love that they still want to keep, some trains or some dolls or whatever, right? They're not totally ready to give up the childhood, but the space changes. And so in addition to organizing a cabinet, a pantry, which people think of, but we also do spatial planning and help figure out furniture layouts or zones or whatever is needed to make whatever that space is run more efficiently.
We have so many homes with open floor plans. You need zone planning. What's going on over here in this space and how does it affect what's going on the other side of the room?
Right. Or the landing zones when everybody gets home from school and work and you're tripping over 25 pairs of shoes and backpacks and musical instruments.
Right. You just did a mudroom, I think. I saw that you posted.
Yes, we did that mudroom, and we do a lot of mudrooms.
Because you need that. That's like the landing place.
It's the landing zone, right?
Yeah.
And so how do you make the landing zone work for that family?
Right.
Right? Because every family functions differently.
Right.
So you have to learn the family, you have to learn their habits, and then create a system so that they can do what they need to do and get what they need to get when they need it.
And not every mind thinks like that.
Everybody
yours does.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So now people are talking about this move management. And you talked about you pack and unpack. What does that mean? If you're managing someone's move, what does that look like?
So we can take them start to finish for move management. So
I can go to sleep here tonight and wake up over here tomorrow.
I mean, basically,
maybe not tomorrow.
Maybe not tomorrow, but so we can declutter, purge. We can stage using their own belongings, which we've done for you guys. Thank you for bringing us in so many times. Pack them, and then hire the moving companies. Be there on the day of the move. Work with the movers, make sure that they are taking what they need to take. A lot of times we'll have them, for example, put the kitchen on last so that the kitchen's the first thing that comes out so that we can do the kitchen and get the beds made, right? Like if your bed is made and the kitchen is set up, you have your toiletries. Right. Exactly. I always tell my clients, like, bring with you toilet paper, paper towel, whatever like you need, garbage bags and all of that. Right. So we can be there when they're moving out and manage the movers there. And then at the new house, we can be there to make sure that everything is getting placed in the right rooms so that packing is efficient. Once the movers leave, we come in, unpack, organize. I've already spoken with the client about what systems they want. A lot of times we can get into the home beforehand, which is great, and I can come in and take the measurements and figure out if we need to be bringing product in, what product. So it's all
closet
there
organizers or whatever.
Exactly. It's all there ready to go. And then because I have a team, we can set up a whole house very quickly. unpack, organize, set up the systems, put everything away as quickly as somebody wants. We can boom, 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 do the whole house. We can do just the kitchen. We can make the beds, whatever somebody wants, set up the playroom. Sometimes we just do kids' rooms, right? So it just is all dependent on what somebody needs. And then what I do is I love to reuse the boxes and the paper and the bubble. I don't want it to end up in a landfill after especially one use. So if I have a client that I am now packing, I'll put them together. But if I don't have that, then I'll go on social media and post so that the materials can all be used. Because I don't want to see it all end up in a landfill, you know? So we try to reuse as much as we can.
None of us realize how many boxes you actually need.
Oh my gosh.
Like you think, oh, I got 20 boxes.
Right.
They're going to be great.
No.
No, that goes like nothing.
Right.
That's nothing.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
not even a room.
Right. No, it's not. No, it's not.
Because we all have too much stuff.
Yeah.
But you're talking about that, which also reminds me, you also are very specific with your clients, for instance, when they're downsizing. And you talked about, maybe they do a quilt or mosaic and things like that.
Right.
But you also are helpful with them in, okay, you don't need these things anymore and we probably should donate them. Maybe they're not sellable items. But is there an organization that's near and dear to your heart, or something that floats your boat that will make you feel good about this?
Right. And so we can make everything go away. And we do that a lot. We don't come in with the intention of making people get rid of what they don't want to get rid of, right? It's very personal, and it's very much we are working with you. We're not pulling things out of your hands as you're grasping it to your chest, right? Like, no, it's a very collaborative.
I shouldn't have done that with my mom. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding.
She loves you, Mom. She does. She really does. So,
but there is a lot of guilt.
There's a lot of guilt
with
there's,
you have something that used to be your grandmother's.
Yeah.
It could be china, it could be silver, it could be quilts, it could be whatever.
Right.
And your mother held on to it, and now you have it in your possession, and it's sitting in a box, and your kids don't want it. You're not using it.
Right.
What good is it in a box?
Right.
In the basement or
Right.
in an attic?
So I tell people now, especially our age, because we have a lot of those things. If you have those things, use them. Your grandmother did not spend all this time making this beautifully handmade tablecloth for it to sit in your box. Mm-hmm. If the red wine gets spilled on it, it gets spilled on it being used in the intention that it was made. The crystal, if it gets broken being used, not sitting in a box. So if it's sitting in a box, it's not doing anybody any good. Take a picture of it and let's move it on, because there are so many people who could use things. And I really try and tailor the donation pickups to the clients and see what's important to them. So if it's a religious organization, if the religion is important to them, I'll try and get a donation pickup from them. Abuse shelters, that kind of thing. We do a lot of donations to the animal shelters with extra bedding and linens and that kind of towels and all of that. And so, and then I have other organizations that will just come and pick up everything. Sometimes people don't care and they say, just make it go away. So it can be very, very tailored to them, or I can just do a one-stop pickup. But either way, we can make it go away. But dealing with the sentimental value items,
That's gotta be
it's
the
very,
hardest.
very tricky.
Yeah.
We do a lot of picture taking because sometimes just having a photo of it is enough, right? And especially kids' projects and kids' artwork.
Yep.
They don't want it when they're older.
No.
So you're saving it for you, but you really don't want it either. So there's a lot of that.
And I have a whole door with magnets of my grandson's. He's going to be 3, so it's like one crayon line on this. But I don't have the heart to get rid of it. What am I doing with this picture with one line with crayon on it?
Right. Yeah, right. You'll replace it one day with something a little bit. I tell people, if you all that stuff from your school age children, if it gives you a glimpse into who they were at that age, that maybe is worth keeping. The report on butterflies, maybe you don't need that, right?
Right.
But if it gives you a glimpse into who they were at that age, or if it's truly a piece of art that you like, frame it, right? Or do those books now, where you can. So there's so many ways to hold on to memories.
Right.
But the other thing I tell people all the time is just because the item is gone doesn't mean that the memory is gone.
Right.
Right?
And that's the big thing. That's what's making most people hesitant about parting with something.
Right.
It's the memories.
Totally.
It's okay. It's okay. You can let it go.
Yeah.
So when we look at seniors, what are some of the difficult organizational challenges and specific things that they need to overcome, and how do you help them?
Well, sometimes it's mobility issues. So if they're living in their home that they lived in for a really long time, the kitchen was set up for maybe when they were 20 or 30 years old. Excuse me. But now they maybe can't climb on the step stool to get something that's up high. Or they used to bake all the time, and so the baking stuff is down low, but they're not really baking so much anymore. And they're really into coffee. But there's no, so it's learning, what if they have any physical limitations, right? Also learning what are their priorities, what are they into right now? And from a safety issue, no step stools, right? And whatever they need, it's reorganizing the space so that whatever they need is at the most convenient locations for them. And that is to be true at wherever, if you're talking a bathroom or a linen closet or whatever. The shelves that are at eye level that are easy, so they're not having to bend down to get that humidifier that they maybe need, or they're not needing to get the winter quilt all the way on the top shelf. It's just kind of thinking where they are at their stage of life and how we can manipulate things to make it safer and easier.
And I think also we are, as human beings, we're creatures of habits, right? So we just go to our house, we live, we know that the coffee mugs are here, the dishes are here, but it takes somebody that doesn't live in the house to kind of look at it differently and ask you these questions. And then you might be like, oh yeah, you're right. I don't bake anymore. Why am I hanging on to all this stuff?
Right.
This
And why does it have prime real estate right here?
Yeah.
When I don't even use this. Let's put it off.
Yeah.
Off to the side a little bit.
Yep. All right, so you talked about moving companies.
Right.
And I know we get asked all the time for names of moving companies. What are some of the most important factors to consider when you're choosing a moving company?
Read the reviews. And have the moving company come to your house to give you an estimate.
So not over the phone.
Not
or
over the
online.
phone. Not over the phone. Or
They like to do that
They
now.
like to
Right.
do that.
We'll do X amount of rooms for this dollar.
Right. Right. No.
My rooms look different than your rooms.
Exactly. And my rooms look different from your rooms.
Yep.
And what I say is a lot of furniture or a lot of clothing you might think is nothing.
Right.
Right? And so they can come out and they can look, a good reputable company, they can look at something and they can tell you you're going to need 250 boxes to pack your house, and they just know. And they can give you an estimate. And I've been hearing a lot of stories lately about companies who come in and they give an estimate of just a bare minimum, and then they take the stuff for the move, they hold your stuff hostage, and they say, oh, it's now double. And they won't put your stuff in the new home, apartment, condo, whatever, until you pay. They literally will hold your things. So contracts are very, very important. Yeah, this has happened.
Wow.
It's insane.
It is insane.
It's insane. So
and you would think that people would contact the Better Business Bureau and these companies would not stay in business.
That might be happening. I don't know, but I think a moving company is really important. I always am sharing names of the companies that I use, that I refer to my clients. Even I'll put it out there, on social media to people who aren't my clients, because I think to be taken advantage of in that way is really, it's a bad situation. So, and I would really go off of referrals, talk to your friends, talk to your family. Who have you used? And there's so much social media where you can just request it. It's a good use of social media.
If somebody had a good experience, why wouldn't you trust that?
Right. Especially people you know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
How can I optimize I'm in my new living space. I'm surrounded by all these boxes. How do I make the best use of that for storage and organization? Like, how do I wrap my brain around that?
I think something people don't think about a lot is vertical space. Okay? And that could be a cabinet, a closet, a shelf. Sometimes shelves are adjustable, and so you can do that, and you can get more shelves. Or you can put risers in there to you. So you want to try and fill up the space. And I'm not saying solid. You don't want it solid. But anytime that you can go vertical, or even if you have a bookcase, instead of having a low one, maybe you want to have a more vertical. So I think that's a big strategy. And then also putting like things together. So when you're unpacking and you have all these boxes and everything around, right? Don't just unpack and put it there. I mean, one of the things that we do when we pack is that all similar things are placed in a box together so that when you're unpacking, oh, here are all my mugs, and now I need to find a space that holds all of these mugs. And we pack very efficiently and very thoughtfully. I just unpacked a client this week, actually, that was packed by the movers. And this is something else to think about. You have to ask the movers, if they pack you, how do they charge? Because they may charge by the box, and that was the case with this client. And when we were unpacking, the boxes were 80% paper.
Oh my gosh.
So
they got the box count.
They got the box count.
Right.
And so, and also a mover, if they're packing for you and you have an open bag of rice in your pantry, they're not going to seal it. And so then the rice spills all over. So, and I'm not saying all movers, because there are some that are, but these are just questions that you need to ask.
Be aware.
Be aware. And so when we unpacked your question, is all like items will be given a home together somewhere. Everything has a place. And if you think of it that way, I think it's easier, it's less daunting. As opposed to just putting everything randomly on a shelf, because now what? You don't know where anything is. Giving everything a home is very helpful.
A home that makes sense.
A home that makes sense.
Definitely.
So when you first start meeting with somebody, obviously you start trying to get information from them, like what stage in life are you at? Do you have some sort of health challenges that might prevent you from reaching things up high or low, all of that.
Right.
And then you also have to talk to them about, do we keep this, donate it, store it? How does that part go with the keep, donate, store? Like, are people open to that, or do people fight you on that? Do they want to store more than you think they should store?
Right. So, it's very interesting. They're very nervous about it. They always, universally, are very nervous about the process, and they think that we're going to be very forceful, and we're not. But we're also very realistic.
Their kids probably told them, you don't need this anymore, get rid of this. Why are you hanging on to this?
Right. Once the process starts, they actually start having fun. Yeah. I hear this all the time. They cannot believe that, getting rid of things is enjoyable. And I think that because we will tailor who is getting the things, that will help them feel better about getting rid of something.
So they have a sense of control.
They have a sense of
you're
control.
Just coming in and doing your thing.
I will not do that.
They're part of it. They have part of the decision making.
Right.
Well, and I think there's a point where it's empowering. It's like, okay, I'm letting go of all this stuff, and it's cleansing.
Right.
And
I feel
like,
so much lighter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like I can breathe again.
You know what? It's funny you say that, because one of my clients recently texted me and said, I feel like my house can breathe again.
Yeah.
Right? Or I feel 100 pounds lighter. It's there. Almost every single person. Sometimes there are tears, because it's very overwhelming. And that's the nice thing about bringing in somebody else, a third party. I have zero emotional attachment to their belongings.
Right.
And so I can be very objective, which they cannot be objective and their family members cannot be objective, right? And so it's nice to have somebody say, okay, do you really need 3 colanders or something?
Right.
Even though this one was
Have you been
given
my cabinet?
This is an intervention for you, Shannon. You didn't know that, but this is truly a colander intervention. Or we'll sort if we're going through all their clothes, right? And now they're moving someplace. Maybe they live in a 4-bedroom house and they're moving into a 2-bedroom place in an assisted living facility or something, right? And they don't need all of this, but we will go through and sort all their clothes, and now they realize they have 25 black t-shirts.
Right.
But when there's...
Because you had where to put them.
I did this when I moved my mom into senior living, and my daughter, actually, my 12-year-old daughter, started sorting her pants because she's like, Mom, she has 7 pairs of white jeans.
Right.
What do you do with 7 pairs of white jeans that you can only wear how many months out of the year?
Exactly. But when you have your white jeans in the drawer, in the closet, folded on the shelf,
Exactly.
you don't realize you have that many.
Right.
So that's why putting like items together, whether you're organizing or you're moving or you're decluttering or whatever, it just, you see the quantity of that specific category. And then it helps you make decisions. And just having it in front. And people get decision fatigue. And so, especially people who might be a little bit older. And so sometimes we'll set a timer.
Yeah.
And say, you know what, let's do this for 20, 30 minutes. We'll set a timer.
That's a great idea.
Take a break. Have coffee or whatever.
Wine.
Wine. Do whatever you need. Go read, check your email, whatever it is.
Right.
And then we'll come back and we'll do that. And then when I don't have the decision fatigue because I'm not making the decisions. I'm just acting on it. They go take their break, and now I am packing up stuff for donations or, putting stuff over here because we're going to re-put that back into the closet, or it's being packed to move into a suitcase, whatever the case is. But, so we have so many different kinds of strategies to work with people so that it isn't so overwhelming, because that is something I hear all the time.
Yeah.
It's so overwhelming, I don't even know where to begin.
Well, and I also love that you have like an a la carte type of system. So like, if you need us to come in and just do one room at a time because that's all you have the headspace for, you don't want to make all these decisions.
Or the budget for it, let's be real.
Or the budget.
Right.
But like sometimes it's like, I'm not going to be moving till next year, but I want to start the process now, but I can only do one room at a time.
Right.
Like you offer that, where
Absolutely.
I don't know every company does.
Okay.
So-
Well, we will do that. We will sometimes, it's a certain number of days per month.
Right.
Right? So it's very customized. Everything we do is very customized to their budget, their time, their mental capacity of making the decisions.
And then you've also said that there have been people, whether it's a transfer or somebody gets ill and has to sell the house quickly, and you can come in and just pack them all up and get them out quickly. So it's just whatever people's needs are.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, excuse me, another strategy, too, that I was just thinking about as you were talking is people never know, where do I start?
Yeah.
Where do I start? The bathroom is a really good place to start, because do you have any sentimental items in your bathroom?
No.
Right? Like, oh, this toothpaste
Right.
I
probably
was so
have
special to
one
me.
too many lipsticks in that
Right,
drawer that I don't ever use.
Right. But it's good to start in the bathroom because there's nothing sentimental. Decisions are going to be easier. Most things are expired. And it gives you a sense of accomplishment. And even if you just do one drawer in a bathroom,
Right.
it's easy.
That's
I love
awesome.
it.
I love
Yeah.
it. So go clean your bathroom, one drawer at a time.
And if you don't have the mental capacity, call Mindy.
Call Mindy.
Super Organized Spaces, and they'll come and help you. Well, this was fun.
This was
And
fun.
Yes,
Thank you
and
so
I
much.
know
We always
will-
love hanging out with you.
I know,
Yeah, and I
it's the
know that
best.
we'll be able to share some more stories down the road. But all your contact information will be on our show notes.
Great.
So if anybody wants to reach out, they can.
And we're glad you tuned in today. Like, follow, subscribe, all those good things. And tune in next week for another episode of Help, Nobody Told Me.